The next morning, Spear and Fang walk through the forest searching for prey. But as soon as they step out, they discover a place beyond imagination. The air is fresh, the sunlight is warm, the water is crystal clear, and even the fish shine with beautiful colors. For a brief moment, everything feels peaceful. Spear steps into the water, catches a fish and eats it, then grabs more to share with Fang. After they finish, they sit by the shore, enjoying the calm and leaving footprints in the sand. Suddenly, a small worm comes out of the ground, and Fang immediately panics, remembering the snakes from before, but Spear reassures her that it's harmless and even eats it in front of her. Then he goes back into the water, floating on the surface for a while before diving down to explore. When he comes back up, he sees Fang resting on a rock, waiting for him, so he dives again, but this time, he notices something strange underwater, a group of humans passing along the shore. He quickly comes out to see them, but the moment he reaches the shore, Fang is gone. He searches everywhere and calls for her, until he finds marks on the ground, showing she was dragged into the forest. But before he can react, he is suddenly struck on the head and loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself tied with branches and being carried, and when he looks beside him, he sees a monkey, which hits him again and knocks him out. The next time he opens his eyes, he's inside a strange arena, surrounded by screaming monkeys. He's lifted up, hanging in front of them, and when he looks beside him, he finds Fang hanging there too. A strange monkey, clearly their leader, steps forward and calls a group of chimpanzees, then draws a circle on the ground. The chimps gather around it, and with a signal from the leader, they begin fighting each other violently until only one remains. The leader points at the winner, then signals towards Spear and Fang. Fang is lowered to the ground, and the leader brings a bowl filled with a strange black liquid. He pours a single drop onto a carved path in the rock, and the chimpanzee drinks it. Instantly, his body begins to change. His muscles grow, his form becomes larger and more savage, and his strength increases in a terrifying way. As soon as Fang touches the ground, she frees herself and charges at him, but with a single strike, the chimpanzee knocks her down. He roars loudly and puts on a skull, as if claiming victory. Fang gets back up and tries again, but she's completely overpowered. Above them, Spear struggles desperately to break free while watching everything unfold. Down below, Fang keeps fighting, but the chimpanzee is far too strong. He grabs her, slams her into the ground again and again until she starts coughing blood and finally loses consciousness. At that moment, Spear snaps. He breaks free and rushes toward the chimpanzee, striking him in the eye, but the creature throws him away and turns back to finish Fang. Desperate, Spear looks around for anything that could change the situation until he notices the black liquid. Without hesitation, he charges at the monkey leader, knocks him aside, and drinks all of it. The monkeys immediately swarm him, beating him from every direction. But suddenly, his body begins to transform. His muscles grow rapidly, his form becomes massive, and he turns into a terrifying beast. He drops into the arena and charges straight at the chimpanzee. The two clash, but this time Spear is far stronger. He overwhelms him, tears his arms apart, and continues striking until the chimpanzee is completely defeated. The smaller monkeys panic and attack him together, but he crushes them effortlessly, one after another, until they begin to flee in fear. But Spear doesn't stop. He chases them down and continues destroying everything in his path. The next morning, the entire place is covered in bodies and blood. Spear has returned to his normal form, standing alone among the destruction. Then he suddenly remembers Fang and rushes toward her. He tries to wake her, pushing her again and again, but she doesn't respond, and in that moment, he realizes the truth. Fang is gone. He slowly sits beside her, overwhelmed with grief, as everything around him falls silent. Spear remains sitting sadly beside Fang, wishing he had been able to save her, and he sits crying and screaming loudly while grieving his friend who has died. There is nothing in his hands that can bring her back from death, so he stands up from the place and walks away sadly. But suddenly he hears Fang coughing, so he becomes happy that she is still alive, and runs back to her again and hears her heartbeat and discovers that she is indeed still alive and that he can save her. So he runs quickly searching for anything to help her and finds skins hanging filled with fresh water, so he takes them and runs quickly to her and gives her to drink, and Fang struggles and tries to drink with him and opens her eyes. So Spear becomes very happy and gives her more water. He looks at her body and finds it full of wounds that are bleeding, so he throws the water on the ground and makes mud to cover her wounds to stop the bleeding. At that time, vultures and birds gather in the place full of bodies, so he feels danger for Fang, so he continues quickly bandaging the wounds. But the number of crows increases more and more, so he tries to lift Fang so they can leave, but Fang is still tired and does not move. So he looks around and finds wood and ropes. So an idea comes to his mind. Quickly he starts gathering ropes and collecting wood, and also finds a sharp stone. So he makes a spear first to fight with, then goes to Fang and digs the ground beside her, then starts tying the wood together and makes a stretcher he can drag Fang with, and with all his strength he tries to push Fang onto the stretcher but cannot, so he stands again and tries once more. And this time he succeeds in placing Fang on the stretcher and looks above him and finds vultures filling the place. So immediately he places the spear and the water on the stretcher and stands at the front of the stretcher and tries with all his effort to pull it. And indeed he manages to pull it and walks away from the place. Spear continues dragging Fang while sweating heavily and pulling with all his strength until he gets close to a lake and is completely exhausted and has reached his limit. So he stops pulling and goes to fill water and gives Fang to drink. And Fang is very tired and tries to resist, and the sun at that time was close to setting. From afar, Spear notices the eyes of a predator watching him, so he becomes worried about it, especially since the sun is about to set. So he gathers firewood and makes several torches around Fang to protect her, and with the coming of night and its intense darkness, the eyes of predators were watching the place. The next morning the torches go out and Spear wakes up afraid and waving his spear because of nightmares of predators, and looks beside him and finds Fang still tired, but starting to improve. So he becomes very happy and gives her water and prepares again to drag her to take her to a safer place. He keeps dragging Fang and walking with her, while predators are watching them from afar, wanting to eat the sick dinosaur. And Spear continues dragging Fang and reaches one of the forests, and the predators are still following them. And night is about to come. When he looks ahead he finds a small cave, so he becomes happy and continues toward the cave, and he and Fang enter inside, and the predators behind them have discovered their location, so Spear runs toward them with his spear and drives them away from the cave entrance, and returns to Fang to check on her and make sure she is fine, but he hears the sounds of predators again. So he goes out and finds their numbers have increased and they are standing waiting around the cave. At night he makes several torches in front of the cave and stands guarding it, and the eyes are still watching them, waiting for the opportunity to attack. With the deep darkness of the night, Spear starts to fall asleep a little, but a strange insect was crawling on him, so he brushes it away, but he feels another and a third insect. And when he gets up he finds the cave full of strange insects crawling on his body. And when he looks at Fang he finds her also covered with insects, so he runs to her and removes all the insects from her body, and takes the spear and keeps killing all these insects to get rid of them, and Fang beside him tries to open her eyes and resist the illness. After he eliminates all the insects, he lights a fire and roasts the insects, and feeds them to Fang, and remains like this until morning. With the sunrise, Fang drinks the last bit of water, and they have no water left. So Spear decides to go out to get some water and return again, but when he goes outside he remembers that predators might attack Fang in his absence. So he gathers large rocks and blocks the cave entrance with them, and Fang at that time has started to recover a little and sees Spear while he is closing all the openings in the cave, so she feels reassured and sleeps. After a while, Fang wakes up to the sounds of predators gathered around the cave, and they keep sniffing around the cave and moving left and right trying to get inside, until Spear arrives and fights them and enters the cave. Fang screams and tries to stand, but she still cannot, so Spear reassures her that he has gotten rid of them and makes her rest until she recovers. He looks around the cave and finds some of the insects he had killed and discovers that their backs are very hard, so he takes the insects in his hand to fight with them, and goes outside the cave and finds himself surrounded by huge numbers of predators, and all at once they begin attacking him, but Spear manages to fight them one after another and continues continues to resist them bravely, but their numbers are very large and they surround him from every direction. Suddenly Fang comes out of the cave to protect her friend and immediately starts attacking them and easily manages to get rid of a large number of them. And Spear also becomes encouraged when he sees that Fang has recovered, so he fights as well with great ferocity. And the two continue fighting until the predators leave the place and run away, and the two of them roar together after they win the battle. In one of the regions, a tribe of giant dinosaurs was living together in peace, protecting their eggs, eating plants, drinking from the lake, and living together with love and happiness. But one time one of these giant dinosaurs was eating from a tree, and suddenly it finds a small dinosaur with a terrifying zombie-like appearance infected with a plague, screaming and moving randomly left and right, and suddenly it bites the giant dinosaur in its leg, so the giant dinosaur throws it away and kills it. But unfortunately it had been wounded in its leg with a deep wound that transferred the plague to it, and within moments its body turns into a zombie and becomes infected with the plague. So it goes to drink water hoping to improve, but its condition gets worse. It vomits blood and its green body starts melting and its appearance becomes even more terrifying. Suddenly it begins moving randomly left and right, breaking the eggs and running crazily, so one of the dinosaurs tries to stop it, but the zombie dinosaur kills it within seconds, then attacks the rest of the herd and kills them all. At that time, Spear and Fang were passing by that place, and they are shocked by the sight of the brutally dead dinosaurs and their bodies filling the place, and as soon as they look behind them, they find the giant zombie attacking them, so at full speed they run away from it, and the zombie runs after them with all its strength, breaking any trees in its path, and Spear and Fang keep running from it, and Spear jumps onto Fang's back, and they both run while the infected dinosaur is still chasing them, until its head gets stuck in a giant tree, and they both go down a slope and feel relieved that they are safe. But suddenly the infected dinosaur frees itself and comes down after them on the slope, so they hide in a pit and the zombie dinosaur falls to the ground and they look at it from above to see if it is dead or not. But it suddenly opens its eye and stands again, so they hide in the pit and watch it as it staggers left and right, losing its balance and falls to the ground. Spear and Fang breathe a sigh of relief after all the terror they saw from it, and they rest in the pit after finally the infected dinosaur seems dead and the darkness of night begins to spread. With the coming of night, the zombie wakes up and screams loudly. So Spear runs at full speed, but the dinosaur catches him and bites him, and the plague transfers to Spear and his body begins to transform. Even Fang is also bitten and her body starts to change. But suddenly Spear wakes up and realizes it was just a nightmare. So he comes out of the pit with Fang and they look at the infected dinosaur and find it still as it is below, not moving. So he decides to go down and escape quickly before it wakes up again. So Fang roars at him as if telling him not to go down, so Spear makes her understand that they must escape quickly before it wakes up again, and he starts to sneak along the wall to go down while Fang follows him, and the plague infected dinosaur below its body is still boiling but not moving, and Spear continues his path until he gets close to the infected dinosaur, and they both move quietly past it while being afraid and terrified from the sight of the zombie they are seeing, and indeed they succeed in passing it and prepare to escape from the place. While they are escaping with their backs turned to the zombie, suddenly it stands up and lowers its head toward them and screams loudly in the place and runs after them, and Spear and Fang run at full speed, and the zombie runs after them, crashing left and right, and rocks are thrown at them. But Spear manages to avoid being hit. The zombie continues chasing them and lowers its head close to the ground as it is about to reach them. But luckily its head gets stuck between two mountains and it cannot reach them, and it keeps screaming loudly and tries to bite them but cannot, and then it starts moving its body left and right to free itself and hits its head against the two mountains several times to pass through. So Spear and Fang leave the place and continue their path toward a volcanic area filled with lava. They reach the volcano, and as soon as they pass by a crater, volcanic lava splashes on them, causing severe burns, and they feel pain, and they notice that the lava is active, which means the volcano may erupt at any moment, so they step back in fear, because if they continue they will be burned, and they keep retreating before the whole volcano explodes on them. But at the same time the zombie behind is still stuck trying to reach them, and it keeps trying until it finally manages to free itself from between the mountains. At that moment Spear and Fang are shocked. In front of them is the zombie and behind them is the volcano, so they turn and run up the volcano, and the zombie with its heavy body runs after them on the volcano, and suddenly lava hits its neck and burns it, so it screams loudly and jumps to catch Spear and Fang, breaking all the rocks on the volcano, and Spear and Fang manage to escape miraculously before falling into the lava. As for the zombie, it falls into the lava, but suddenly rises again with its body red and attacks them, but they run away from it at full speed, and suddenly while running, the zombie emerges from the lava and stands in front of them, and at that moment Spear finds himself standing on the zombie's body, but luckily the lava is very intense on it, and causes it to lose balance, and its head falls to the ground. So Spear and Fang continue escaping, and the zombie behind them keeps screaming loudly and tries to stand to attack them again, but they have already reached safety and passed the volcanic area, so the zombie jumps to reach them but falls into the lava. At that moment Spear and Fang watch the final moments of the zombie as it burns in the lava, and its body starts being consumed while it screams very loudly, and in the end it burns completely and turns into ashes, and Spear stands watching its end, and its ashes reach him, and he takes them in his hand, while he cannot believe what happened before him.